That was Blur with Park Life. We are joined by Lucy.
Hello! Morning.
Rocking the Cornish scarf.
It's coming up to 11:30, Mac, and this is the news at the moment. Zawahiri becomes Al-Qaeda chief. Ayman al-Zawahiri, for years the second most powerful man in Al-Qaeda, is appointed head of the militant organisation following Osama bin Laden's death, Al-Qaeda says. Now, I don't know about you. I think a month to get your head replaced is a bit slow. I mean, with Gordon Brown, we took about 5 days to replace him after he resigned.
I'll be honest, we could have put an otter in charge of the country after Gordon Brown. It would have done a better job.
It would have been a lot cuter. You look at Gordon Brown, you're just like, oh, my day is ruined, you're scowling at me. You look at Nelson, you're like, oh, who's in charge of the economy? Yes, you are. Also, in other news, Balls calls for emergency tax cut. You see what they've done there? Balls calls. It's funny, it rhymes. So many things you can do with the Shadow Chancellor's name. He's calling for a temporary emergency VAT cut, value-added tax cut, of course, to boost consumer confidence and jumpstart the economy. But seeing as this is one of the people who led us into this mess in the first place, do we trust him with that sort of judgment?
I don't know. Do you trust Nick Clegg?
Well, he's not really in charge of the economy, so we can discount him.
He's in charge of the pick-a-mix section of Downing Street.
He is. He's in charge of constitutional reform, which has so far led to an alternative vote referendum.
Which cost 12 million?
Which cost quite a lot of money, and the Liberal Democrats multi-point lost, because they didn't get what they wanted. And he's drawn up boundary changes, which will get rid of about 25% of his MPs, and will generally be advantageous to the Conservatives. So yeah, he's having an awesome time. To be fair, there's a really nice... They visited a hospital recently, and there's this really quite cute photo of Nick Clegg sort of telling a joke, and this poor hip replacement guy sort of either laughing or sort of going, I can't get away from Nick Clegg and Cameron. And Cameron's sort of there going, well, no, it's okay, you will get better. He'll go away after a while. But the best news headline at the moment, and it's in the top 3. Facebook juror given 8 months. A juror who contacted the defendant via Facebook causing a case to collapse is jailed for 8 months for contempt of court. Now, I would feel quite sorry for someone just because they kept in touch with somebody over Facebook, but the language they use, let's see. Joanne Frail had admitted the charge in the first UK case of its kind. She's 40 years old, and she's using this sort of language. Can't believe they had you on remand, spelt with a U. At least then you're all home and dry. And Stuart responded, haha, you're mad. I really appreciate everything. If I could have kissed you, all I would have done, haha. She went on to say, keep in touch and I'll get you a nice prezi. These are middle-aged women. What's happening to this country, Lucy?
This is the problem with things like Facebook. And, yeah. So
she's effectively been jailed for using lolcats. You has been charged on ours. I can has acquittal.
And shall we begin the 11 o'clock waffle?
The 11 o'clock waffle.
We have Lucy. It's been a while since we've done this, but we have Lucy on the show. And will it work? Because the thing is, I'm recording through VR. Why are you doing this?
Technical difficulties.
Talk amongst yourselves, people. Make yourself a cup of tea.
My laptop did one of those. Windows needs to update systems.
It's okay.
So you install the update and then your laptop runs slower than ever before from the advanced update.
It's okay, we just have to improvise. Lucy, 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 Ahmed! Ahmed!
I like that.
Lucy, 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 Ahmed! Ahmed! Bam, bam.
Hey, Lucy. The Around the Clock is proud to present, fresh from her world tour, headlining in Amsterdam, Bangkok, and Celebration, Florida. Please give a warm hand to the star of Girls Gone Wild, parts 2, 5, and 7, Lucy the Slut!
Hello.
Morning. I forgot you changed that from the Combine Harvester.
I know.
I think mine was better.
Actually, yeah.
Mine had improvised drum beats. I just needed a Mark Ronson sort of twist to it. Lou, C, mad.
Nice.
Why is every song he does is like that?
I don't know. don't get his music.
If you were to talk to someone like that on the bus, everyone would leave.
Indeed.
But it sells on CDs and in the music industry.
Would you like your theme tune?
I want to know what it is.
That's
I can't remember what we gave you last time. You can have this. Hello, Chris.
I'm not sure whether I want to be compared to Dawn French, but I'll
Hey,
accept
Dawn-
that I'm
Dawn
comedy
French
gold.
is a fine woman.
She is. She's down in Cornwall most of the time, but she's not married to Lenny Henry anymore.
I know.
Oh.
Oh.
So Victoria Wood can't do a famous comedy routine now of being confused with Dawn French. And being asked what it's like to be married to Lenny Henry.
Ah, yes.
Shall we on with the show?
On with the show.
Oh no.
Here we go.
I have no answers for most of these questions. It's going to be fun.
It's alright.
Anyway.
We get lifelines this time.
Yes.
I'm not sure how we're going to do 50-50, and asking the audience might be tricky.
I have Facebook. We can be like,
Yeah.
Facebook and
Yeah.
podcast.
Come on. Where's the Facebooky stuff? No one's commenting. Comment.
Where is everyone?
Where-
Where is our listeners? People start commenting.
Where is
on
our
Facebook.
listeners? Where is our listeners?
Yeah.
She did an English degree, everyone.
Okay, let's push on with the show. It's 11:38. After I reignited my love of Football Manager, which is a fantastic game, what is the most addictive game you've ever played? Chris?
At the moment, it's FIFA 11 because that's the only CD I've got on my laptop at the moment. So FIFA 11. FIFA usually has sort of contest with Pro Evo Soccer which is the best game. And usually Pro Evo wins because FIFA always just seems to have a few things like the players look like zombies, or they don't even look like the actual player. You're like going, that is not Wayne Rooney. He has hair. And things like that. But it's actually a really good game this time, and the graphics are good. The players aren't running through the goalposts like they usually do. They actually manage to work out where they are.
See, I thought Pro Evo had disappeared.
You're not
Faded away.
constantly using handball. You know, when you slide tackle, you're not
that's a
usually
pain.
constantly sort of going, because no player would actually go, I'll slide in and grab the ball. That's not the right game. That's rugby, people. And what would it be like to play a rugby game? Can you imagine a rugby computer game?
I played one. It's quite weird.
Yeah, I can imagine it being a bit odd.
No. Games like that really bug me. I mean, go outside and play football. Don't play
But
football.
I have no friends to play football
I
with.
think we've just shamed the House of Feck in saying that because they have a Wii. And
Yeah.
if anything, it's sort of... But the Wii you can kind of get away with because usually it is a little bit of
Active.
hardware. It is a little bit.
You've actually got to move around and actually pretend that you've got your tennis racket.
So
around.
Wii is also quite addictive. Wii
Yeah.
tennis, Edgar Duncan and I have a long-running sort of friendly feud over that. I'm not sure who's winning. We have lost count. But yeah.
Lucy, what have you got?
Well, the only game I've really ever got really truly addicted to was like Theme Park Tycoon that I had on my PC years ago.
Oh.
Because it was so cool. You could run your own theme park, and it was.
You could drown your staff.
Yeah, and you had to pick them up and put them wherever you wanted them to be. If there was things that needed to be done in the park. So, like, if somebody had been sick after being on a ride, you could get your little janitor man, and he had to go and clean up. And
But it was brilliant because if they started complaining, you just pick them up
Yeah.
and drop them in the water,
Yeah.
and they flounder around for a bit, and then they drown.
Theme Park World?
Yeah,
I used to have that game.
it's an amazing
Roller
game.
Coaster Tycoon as well was a similar sort of thing.
Yeah,
you could
that
do it
was
in
on
that
the
one.
PlayStation, I think.
Yeah.
But Theme Park one was on PC. I was addicted to both, to be fair.
I think my favourite game, just in the way it sort of flips sort of morals on its head, is Dungeon Keeper, where you sort of have to run a dungeon and be a baddie and have all these sort of creatures like imps and warlocks
Nice.
and skeletons
Oh,
and stuff.
wow, that's
And the good
nice.
guys keep trying to break into your dungeon, and you just have to completely whoop them all. And it's such an awesome game. And you have this sort of overlord who sort of gives you instructions, like when you're doing various things in the game. It's just like, your creatures are annoyed, you cannot pay them. And just all these brilliant voice. Whoever voiced that must have had so much fun. And they didn't take their manual at all seriously. They were just constantly making jokes on every page. So
Yeah.
it's one of those shows where you can tell they weren't doing it to run a business. They were just doing it for fun and making money at the same time.
Red Dead Redemption is quite addictive as well. cowboy game.
I've not come across that one. The problem is with I've never actually personally owned an Xbox or a PlayStation or anything like that. So when it comes to stuff with like joysticks and all that, I'm not great with my thumbs. And shoot 'em up games, I just sort of wonder if it's all necessary. Rainbow Six is quite fun. That's a little sort of terrorist game, but that's funny because it's unrealistic. Like, you throw a hand grenade towards someone, and they run towards it. And it's just like, no terrorist would do that. That's one of the first things they must do on their work experience. Terrorists on the work experience. It's like, grenade, do not run towards. If you're holding one, that's fine, but if you want to go that way, we're more than happy, but usually, no.
From one game to another, Duke Nukem is back in the gaming world after a 12-year absence. So, what else in the world are you still waiting for? Lucy.
Good, Chris first.
Chris.
Duke Nukem, the thing with Duke Nukem now, particularly what with YouTube memes and stuff, is that I can't look at Duke Nukem without thinking of the saxophone guy who was in the Eurovision Song Contest with Moldova. And he never really played the saxophone, they just played a contest, but he was sort of holding the saxophone and doing quite sort of mesmerising pelvic thrusting just for the whole of the song. And just, yeah. And it sort of turned into almost like a Rickroll, sort of getting sax rolled. And it's just...
But surely, like, with something like with Duke Nukem that's been, like, in development for 12 years, it's never going to live up to the expectations of the people that have wanted it for so long.
No.
It's a bit like the Scottish Parliament.
It's
or
not.
something like that, you know. So it's something that took so long to build. Wembley, you know, that took forever. I am waiting for Tottenham to improve White Hart Lane and to stop faffing around with the Olympic Stadium. I think that would be good.
That's a good
The Olympic
point.
Stadium is just getting silly. We're all waiting for this Crossrail thing that's going to come around in London, which is supposed to revolutionise like the underground. You'll be able to get, you know, say if you're travelling from Reading to Paddington, you won't have to use the underground necessarily to go straight through to somewhere like Liverpool Street. So that might be quite cool. Don't ask what else we're waiting for.
Lucy's answer?
I don't know. I mean, on a personal level, I suppose what I'm waiting for is to actually like go abroad. I've never actually been out of England as such.
Out of
America.
Yeah, so like anywhere, but I think because I'm at this age now that I probably appreciate it a lot more of wherever I ended up going. But I want to travel a bit, so that's something that I'm still waiting.
It's Grimsby.
Yes.
Do you know what I'm still waiting for? And you'll all agree with me on this.
Christmas will be here in 6 months.
No. The hoverboards from Back to the Future 2.
Oh.
Which
yes.
is set, I believe, in 2011.
Actually, if we're going to talk futuristic stuff, I do want the pipes from Futurama.
Nice.
The pipes from Futurama, just because, yeah.
Make life so much
Because you
easier.
won't, you know, because it is like the tube, obviously, it's an actual tube, but you're not bumping into everyone. On
Yeah,
the tube, everyone's sort of glaring. You don't need to worry about that. You're just there going, flying! And yeah.
Alright, I've looked it up. It's 2015 that Back to the Future 2 is set. Well, there you go.
Really?
So
4 years, we should have some
But
hoverboards.
4
we're
years time.
really, really bad at predicting the future. Like, Star Trek was supposed to be late 90s, 2000, while it was predicting that we'd all be in space and we'd have all these sort of ridiculously good doors and that we could friggin' teleport. How did they think we were going to teleport?
Actually, that's something that we probably like.
We have got nowhere near teleporting, as far as I know.
That's something that would be amazing.
We have got invisible suits though now.
Right.
They've got those. They've got that. Because you know James Bond, they had the invisible car.
Okay.
They've actually adapted that
They've
into
got
a
invisible suits now.
like a jacket thing,
That's
which is,
pretty cool.
but it's still miles off.
It is still miles off, but you know, I mean, there are advances. It's just, you know, and we have come a lot on, say, from the 50s. You know, there have been a lot of advances.
See, I've read that the last 100 years have been the slowest in terms of revolutionary discoveries.
I suppose it is because
If you compare it to the 1800s, and yes, it is, I suppose. Yeah.
the problem is though, in terms of like, because it's usually about speed, isn't it? You know, you start with walking, then you go on to horse and carriages, and then you go on to sort of cars, and then you go on to really fast cars. And now people don't want to go faster, really, because it's like
There's no
90
petrol.
miles an hour is fast enough, you know. So it's the problems that are getting, you know, faster. I mean, we're sort of tiptoeing towards space. You know, there's going to be all those flights taking you up to space, but it's still most people are not going to be, we've got a post. Oh, Jennifer reckons she's jinxing us. You're not jinxing us, Jen. It's nice to have a comment. But yeah.
Everyone else.
There's a Transformers question and there's no James.
Oh no, I'm not into Transformers at all. I don't know an
I think you would be if you saw the crossover between Thomas the Tank Engine and Transformers.
Is that on YouTube?
Wow.
Transformers.
That sounds amazing.
With Optimus Prime and Megatrain.
Cool.
And just all these brilliant puns. Just absolutely fantastic. And yeah.
So Shia LaBeouf will not be starring in Transformers 4. That's the word. So who should replace Shia LaBeouf?
Bill Bailey.
Nice. I'm going with that. That's
Just to make it fantastically British and sort of all the sort of stuff he could do with just like mocking the buildings.
I raise you, Eddie Izzard.
Oh, but see,
Look, Transformers.
no. Stephen Fry.
Why are you all doing the big arms thing? I don't know, I just thought I'd do a big arms thing. We can't all do the big arms thing, Optimus Prime. We're going to look like a squadron of Spitfires.
No, Stephen Fry, just because it would be hilarious, because it would go more
But
intellectual.
Stephen Fry doesn't always necessarily do films brilliantly. I mean, he's brilliant in Oscar Wilde, but as the
Beef
narrator,
Vendetta.
Hitchhiker's Guide doesn't quite...
Beef
Yeah.
Vendetta.
Is he in FIFA
He's
Vendetta?
in Beef Vendetta.
Damn.
On last night, me and my house were watching it. Plays basically himself. He plays a.
What about Ian McKellen as Gandalf? I can see quite a good Lord of the Rings Transformers thing. It's just like
yeah.
I'm not sure. There's one really.
Megatron must be destroyed.
There's one really obvious one that you're missing here. Who is the expert on all things Transformers?
James?
Yeah.
Well, we could have James.
Put James in Transformers. It'd be amazing.
Oh, Emma is sorry.
Emma, you better be listening.
She is listening.
I don't think I have a boo sound effect.
A boo.
Would you like to boo Emma?
No.
No.
We'll be lovely to Emma, but we will sort of give her sort of damning with faint praise glances
Tonight.
when we see her.
Yeah.
So yeah. In terms of, I don't know. Also, I don't know. Johnny Depp could be quite interesting for Transformers, but then you would have to have Helena Bonham Carter as well.
Yeah.
Of course, you can't have one without the
Transformers in a Tim Burton style.
Oh dear.
That
would be
Wow.
good.
That could be quite interesting. Headless robots. Ooh, a bit of horror. But it wouldn't be that bad. It wouldn't be that bad because, you know, sort of the kids would be like, oh, the robot has died, but it's no actual blood, so it'd still be fine to watch.
I still want to see James Miller in Transformers.
Oh, we all do. But I think
I
you'd be
think-
quite good as a sort of sidekick, sort of running around after Johnny Depp, just sort of going like, Johnny, what are we doing? I don't know, mate.
It'd be brilliant though, wouldn't it?
If I didn't, this would probably never work.
Right, we got 2 weeks. 2 weeks to solve the problem to the Decepticons are the baddies. The Decepticon invasion.
It's okay, I can do it the last hour.
And then the weekend before the Decepticons invade, James is like, right.
You start on this problem.
I should probably start on this.
To be honest, I mean, I know it's quite an American concept, Transformers, but I am surprised that Doctor Who and Transformers have never quite meshed into one. I mean, you've kind of got the Cybermen a little bit, but they're not really quite the same. I think Matt Smith running around trying to stop the evil Transformers could be quite fun, especially if there were two of him, if it was a gang rep.
We'll go on to Doctor Who later.
Yes,
With the
Yes.
big news.
as we always do.
There'll be a lot of Doctor Who conversation later.
From Shia LaBeouf, one dodgy actor, to Amanda Holden.
Why is he called Shire?
Shia LaBeouf.
What?
He's essentially called
What is that?
Shia the cow, isn't he? Shia the beef.
The beef. It's like the capital of Louisiana is Baton Rouge, which just means red
And he
stick.
started dating Carey Mulligan, who's our new national treasure actress from Blink.
You say Blink, I say 182. That's what registers.
Doctor Who, the episode Blink.
Oh, Blink, okay.
Carey Mulligan starred in that and then went on to get a BAFTA award, I think, for
Yes.
an education.
It's a good film.
And she's, I think it's saved on our preview box.
That's pretty cool.
But
Right.
Shrek the Musical has begun its run in the West End. So what else would you like to see a musical made out of?
What hasn't been made into a musical
I
lately,
really
though?
don't know, but I was thinking Doctor Who could work. But I don't know.
It would have to be Tennant and Rose,
Well,
though.
the
for
thing is,
love.
they kind of. I mean, they haven't done a musical yet, but they've done a lot of Doctor Who live. They've done quite a lot of musical stuff, having an
That's
orchestra.
the proms, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's different.
Yeah.
I want full-on dancing Doctor and singing and big flares or something. I don't know.
Can Matt Smith sing? I think Rory has to do a solo of Dusty Springfield at some point if there was going to be a musical. He has to be singing along to You Don't Have to Say You Love Me.
No, he's got to be singing I Will Survive.
Well, he's doing better at that recently, to be fair.
I don't know who you would have as the Doctor though. Like, would you do it so it was a different Doctor altogether, or use somebody that's already been?
I don't know. My mate Callum saw Tennant and Tate in the West End the other day in a Much Ado About Nothing.
What songs would you use? Climb every time stream? Ford every rift?
There are Doctor Who songs out there. You just gotta YouTube.
The Doctor and I by John Barrowman.
No,
Yeah,
you have a
actually,
soundtrack.
decent Doctor
There's a
Who.
really nice version of Abide With Me that's in one of the David Tennant
Series
episodes.
3.
Yeah, it's a really nice rendition of it. But they have to use Abide With Me because it's made by BBC Wales, as if we didn't know that already. Half of Cardiff is always involved in Doctor Who at any point. So we're closing Cardiff, we have to film Doctor Who. All of it, yes.
So what would you like to see made a musical of, Chris? Lucy's going to Doctor Who?
I think Have I Got News For You would be quite fun as a musical.
That would be good.
Because you could just have so many cameos, and Boris Johnson just doing a song like it is some sort of version of It Sucks to Be Me.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I need to.
But political musicals, I mean, they have had
They would
political
age.
musicals,
Yeah.
but they
Well, I tell you what I watched the other day. I had to watch the Angus Deaton episode of Have I Got News For You, where the prostitute
it's
scandal
so
comes out.
painful.
That one is so awkward to watch.
It's so very
So
painful.
funny. It's the way he starts it though with the hello and welcome to Have I Got News For You, where this week's loser is presenting it.
Yeah.
And then they do like the first newsroom and discuss it.
He did so well to battle through it, but it was a shame they sacked him. I know why they sacked him. But he's gone on to do quite well since, to be fair.
He's done his
a-
ITV one with the self-help videos.
No,
That's
but
quite
he
good.
did Hell's Kitchen for a bit, didn't he?
Yeah.
Which is alright. I have a worrying feeling Big Brother might be turned into a musical.
Oh no. But yeah, I can
Reality
see that
TV is a
yeah,
musical.
of some format or something
Or spin it
X Factor
and
or
say, I mean, in Big Brother, what they should have done is just everything they had to do, they had to sing or dance as they were doing it. I think, Labyrinth, just to get David Bowie on the stage doing magic dance again, you could have so much fun with that.
I think reality TV, there is going to be a musical based on that at some point. It will happen.
It's going to happen.
Something like X Factor or like.
We know superhero musicals aren't really working that well because poor old Spider-Man
Spider-Man's getting
has
flopped.
just. Oh.
I
It's
was
been
watching
painful.
some of the Tony Awards online actually, and yeah, Spider-Man's being slated big time by all the actual professional
Why does
stars.
Tony get his own awards? Mr. Gale, we are not pleased with your
Patrick
corruption.
Harris is amazing presenting the Tony Awards. So
Yeah.
it was
Scrubs,
brilliant.
well, there was a musical version of Scrubs, but I think Mac would pay to see a full musical of Scrubs.
It could work.
Possibly. Has there been Friends the musical?
No, but there should be.
Can see that, but to be fair, Rent the musical.
Yes.
Rent is just more depressed Friends.
Anything like that though, any like American sitcom, I think could be worked into a musical.
Because Friends is just upper middle class rent, really. At the end
Yeah.
of the day, it's just like, oh, we're all struggling with our stuff, and it's just like, dude, the guys in Rental mostly have AIDS. You're fine.
I love it when Brent appears in Team America.
Oh yes, as Lise. Yes, it's very good, isn't it? Yes.
Should we have the scores?
The scores.
Where's the button?
Push the button.
Right, it's changed all of the things, so we can have. Let's have this for the score noise.
We sound so professional. That's the scores.
Well,
Oh, I suppose that kind of happens.
yeah.
You get your points after Pac-Man dies.
No, that's true, but that's a bit of a
On 7 points, it's Chris, and also on 7, it's Lucy.
ooh, tie. Nice.
Gonna have some music now.
Damn this war.
Take you into the midday hour. This is Accidentally in Love by Counting Crows. That was Murder Mystery by Scouting for Girls. It's another one of their genius songs where
Scouting for pity.
they just list as much as they can into the
Scouting for
song.
desperation.
That was Murder Mystery, and on Sunday night I held a Murder Mystery dinner party, which was brilliant fun. Thoroughly recommend it. But what is the greatest murder mystery you've ever read or seen?
There's quite a good murder mystery. The thing of it is, with Agatha Christie, which is obviously one of the things you would automatically go for, I go for an Agatha Christie novel, because they well know. But there's a book that's been written about the time that she actually disappeared. Yeah. She just disappears, and I think there's like a car or something is found in a lake, and everyone's just like, oh, flipping heck. She's actually died, or was she murdered? Did someone push her in? Was it her husband who they're going through a fraught marriage, and she turns up later in somewhere in Yorkshire, I think it's near Leeds.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just really weird because everyone's just like, flip the murder novelist is being murdered, and yeah, everyone's
just, actually a giant wasp.
Nice reference there. Well done,
Doctor Who. But that was genius, though, how they made an episode out of something real.
Yeah,
no, that was.
It's probably what happened.
But yeah, I always find Lewis quite impressive. I think,
as in the man or the show.
More so than Lewis, the show, because to be fair, I would have thought it was quite difficult to keep doing murders in one place. Because it's just like, is there any... but at least with those you can sort of do slightly different villages. You can sort of go to different places. Oxford is one place, and according to Lewis and Moores, every single damn street / room / bus shelter has had some sort of murder, or at least some sort of attack.
I'd say Midsomer Murders though is worse, because they have about 4 murders an episode, don't they?
And they're shockingly racist.
Yeah. Oh, I love that joke about you wouldn't want to be the first black guy in Midsomer Murders, would you? You'd just be there. Wait, where were you at the time of the incident? I was in the cells when you were trying to arrest me for the last murder.
But it was weird actually, because to be fair, until that producer guy sort of mentioned about the fact that no black or ethnic people on the show,
wouldn't have noticed.
No one noticed, and in fact, I think we would have all, because it is just made so quintessentially over the top. I cannot believe how much you're stereotyping this sort of English. No one seems to think sort of like, oh, but where's Abdul, the happy grocer, or anything like that, or where's, or even someone Polish, there wasn't even anyone sort of French or German or Belgian or even from the Isle of Wight,
Yeah.
Just sort of... and nothing Cornish, just all thoroughly English with exactly the same accent.
Yeah.
And anyone who was... with a slightly different lilt is just like, oh, he's from Berkshire, not Wiltshire.
Lucy.
Yeah, I think for if I was going to go for Agatha Christie, it would have to be Death on the Nile, the film that was made in 1978. Just because there's so many good actors and actresses in that film, it's insane how many
Sean
people
Connery, or is he in Orient?
It's I remember watching that one.
They've just crammed everybody into that film, but also if. Talking about crime drama as such, I would say things like Prime Suspect is amazing. The Americans have gone and remade it. I'm a little bit annoyed about this.
Why? To be fair, as well, I think this is also another Agatha Christie one, which is kind of annoying. Orient Express, I think, is one of the best in the fact that he knows that everyone has done it. Sorry for anyone who hasn't watched the Orient Express. Ruined it. Spoilers.
I watched it at Christmas and I didn't really like it. The one they did at Christmas was really done.
The person who plays Poirot isn't actually brilliant, as good, but I just like the fact that it is all of them and he knows it, and he's just like, okay, to be fair, the guy you murdered was an absolute bastard, so I'm going to let you get away with it.
Whoa.
Beep. What's going on?
There's a button for it.
Good editing. It's okay. Radio 4 has had the C word on before.
Yeah, but you lose points.
But James Knox, you've gained so much respect for calling Jeremy Hunt that
you can't go around
particular word.
Maya lost points. It's called doing a Maya, swearing on the radio.
It's called doing a Maya.
And now we have to apologise to our listeners if they took offence to Chris Stanley's use of the B word.
It could have been the case that the person I was referring to had been illegitimately fathered, in which case it's not a swear word, it's a perfectly legitimate word.
Are you trying to suggest that people who are illegitimately fathered are right for murdering?
No.
We're getting quite controversial here.
We are getting quite controversial. Well, I don't know, it depends which country you go to. I think if we would go to some Muslim states in the Middle East, I think absolutely. Come on, you can divorce someone in Saudi Arabia for making you a bad cup of coffee. Imagine what they do if you found out they haven't been married.
They sound advanced.
He do sound advanced, don't they? Bless. They probably are in terms of medicine.
What do you call this tea? Divorced!
You're late.
Lucy, what have you got?
I think we've had Lucy's thing.
Yeah.
You weren't listening.
Prime suspect.
Suspect.
Marple as well.
And
Sherlock.
Definitely not.
Sherlock.
Of course. James dressed up as Sherlock the other day.
Benedict Cumberbatch.
For our graduation party.
Benedict Cumberbatch, absolutely.
Benedict Cumberbatch is awesome.
He is very awesome. And the
series-
original Jeremy Brett Sherlock Holmes as well.
Yes, I was going to say.
Was a fantastic show.
Yeah.
Just had so many good actors coming onto it as well. And I think the mystery that Conan Doyle does with Sherlock Holmes and Moriarty sort of flinging each other off a waterfall, and you both assume they die, and then everyone sort of complains that Sherlock Holmes is dead, so he does bring him back.
And they're doing that episode in the new series.
Yeah. Oh, that's going to be good.
Mel Gibson is in The Beaver, wearing a beaver hand puppet to aid his midlife crisis. But what would be your hand puppet of
Because
choice?
Mel Gibson can't get any more weirder.
Mel Gibson is awesome, okay? He is Riggs. And Chris has bought a hand puppet with him, it appears.
Yep.
Either that or
Well,
it's
I
just
think
a sock.
It's a sock.
It is a sock.
Sock puppets are amazing.
I think they're the original, Mac, and they're quite easy to sort of. You don't have to go to any particular lengths to play them, and they can be anything. You know, you can switch their character. Whereas a beaver is just always going to be a beaver.
Yeah, but the beaver's awesome.
Is it really? Is it actually awesome? Have we determined its awesomeness yet? I think Mr. Socky is doing quite well, particularly if I give him a Camp German accent.
Lucy, what would be your puppet of choice?
Well, in reference to my dear friend Emma, it would have to be a mole, because if you heard about how we've nicknamed her Molly, as in Molly from Animals in Farthing Wood,
No.
because
She's always sleepy!
she's always sleepy.
She's always
It's
sleepy.
slow and just a little bit like, oh, what's going on? It's like we were meant to play tennis, knocked on her door, and she was just standing there going, is it that time already? And we were like, yes.
To be fair, actual hand puppet I used to have, that was a rabbit with fangs.
Oh,
Killer Rabbit, Monty Python, sort of Holy Grail style.
I love the
That
Killer
was
Rabbit.
a pretty cool. I think if I still had that one, I think that would be my hand puppet of choice. But until then, I'm going to have to do with Mr. Sock, aren't I?
My housemate didn't like Monty Python and Holy Grail. She thought it was silly.
That is slander.
Not even the killer bunny rabbit.
She
Killer-
didn't like the
She
killer.
didn't like the killer
Oh.
bunny rabbit.
I can't.
She's going to have flipped completely and like the ending now, isn't she? Because
She
everyone
didn't like any of it.
She
Thought it was silly.
Wow.
I love the ending to Monty Python.
I suppose
Baffling.
I suppose on a law of averages, someone does have to dislike Monty Python.
That's true,
But Monty Python is so
crazy.
awesome.
Mm.
It's
They
like
kill a historian. They kill one of my clan. But it's alright because it's A.G.P. Taylor and he was a whiny big person.
oh,
Oh, come on.
Rainy at the swearing the last minute.
You should try working house.
Carla has a good,
I worked with a former Marine.
Carla has a good fox puppet.
Okay.
Oh.
Really cute, cuddly belly on it. American Pie Reunion has begun filming. So, what film would you like to reunite the cast of, or theatre production? Let's go for theatre production.
It is production. What?
Well, I thought you guys being FECCLES, you might want to
okay.
reunite
The original FECCLES posse.
without us.
Well, no, it's difficult. I think the original Midsummer Night's Dream, and I think Accidental Death of an Anarchist.
Yes.
That.
Those two definitely. Yeah, Widows not so much.
Not so much Widows, because we'd have to have the baby to have a proper reunion.
Oh no. That baby's still around somewhere.
Yes.
Emma stole it.
And we have to use it for every production now, because there's always a chance that we're going to need a baby. We thought we were done with it last year, and then Win Sisters needed a baby. So,
It was actually gaffer taped together because the head kept.
but they
falling
do lots of reuniting stuff, don't they? They have they reunited the cast of, I think it was Grange Hill and Biker Grove. They tried to reunite the A-Team,
Star Wars.
Star Wars. Oh, that would just be sad. The cast of Star Wars. It'd just be like everyone in a room with Harrison Ford, and Harrison Ford just going like, "So, have any of you guys done anything else after this film?" I have. I mean, I've done all this. You know?
I think you'll find Carrie Fisher was in the same entertainment venue as I, eating a hot dog. She was.
Who rose more at that point, Matt? Was it you or her?
She was across the room with a hot dog and the ketchup spilling out at the end.
This is a bit like me being behind Andrew Lansley, Secretary of State for Health, in a queue in Cafe Nero whilst he was buying a hot chocolate.
Richard Dreyfuss from Jaws was there as well.
But he wasn't in the queue for Cafe Nero. That would have just been weird. Especially as Andrew Lansley might have started humming the Jaws theme.
So annoyed because she had to go. So there's a party that I went to in Bermuda, and to get to the party, I had to go on a little boat because it was on an island, like an island out. And whoever was on the boat with Richard Dreyfuss got to do the immortal line, "We're gonna need a bigger boat."
Oh no!
Could you imagine? Do you reckon how many times do you reckon he's had that when he's got on a boat? Yeah, we're gonna need a bigger boat, I think. Apparently, Carrie Fisher was James Blunt's landlady.
What was that?
Carrie Fisher was James Blunt's landlady.
Wow.
She was also...
Who wound up the other more?
She was also in the lesbian vampire episode of Smallville. She appeared as the editor of the Daily Planet. And she's fantastic when she was in 30 Rock as well.
You sound like you want to reunite lesbian vampires, Mac.
They don't in Smallville.
Okay.
You've seen Lesbian Vampire Killers? Don't waste your time.
No,
it's a terrible film.
I've walked past Matthew Horn in Leeds once, and the only thing I could think to say to him was, like, I don't watch any of your shows because they're rubbish, so I just let him go. I mean, even Gavin and Stacey, which probably has its moments.
I like Gavin and Stacey.
I quite like it, but that's because it's got Rob Brydon, not because it's got Horn and Gordon. I mean,
Rob Brydon does steal the show with that one.
But yeah, the cast of Muppet. I don't know. It's kind of difficult to reunite Muppets Christmas Carol.
If you were gonna do an episode or something, I would really like Friends to do a reunion episode.
I think they're talking about a film. I'm not sure.
But there's been rumours about films since the show finished, so I don't think that will ever happen.
Give it till it's 10 years.
Yeah, no, I would like that. And
Jennifer Aniston's frittered all the money away on moisturiser
or,
and men.
Or Matt LeBlanc seriously has nothing else to do, and he's like, I need the money.
He's come back though, hasn't he, in episodes.
The episodes are actually quite good.
I need to watch that.
It's quite good because he's evil, isn't he?
He plays a depraved version of himself.
Yeah, which is quite weird.
Time for some songs. It's 12:16. Two classic cheesy tracks coming up. That was Take That, Back for Good, and before that we have I'm Gonna Be 500 Miles by the Proclaimers.
Okay, listeners, you need to know that Mac was performing the whole dance routine.
Not the whole dance, just the bits I know.
Also, I'm gonna be 500 miles. Be 500 miles?
According to what it said on my iPod.
Okay.
It's not called that, but okay.
I think it is actually called I'm Gonna Be 500 Miles, but the lyrics are Walk. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Fair enough.
But you need to know that Mac was doing the dance routine for Back for Good. It was rather disturbing. Poor Chris with his sock puppet didn't know where to look.
Mr. Hands was not impressed.
There you go. I'm Gonna Be 500 Miles is the title of the song.
Okay.
That's a stupid name for a song.
That's a very stupid name.
It was released for a point. What year was it released in?
Were they just being grammatically silly to annoy the English? I can see Scottish people doing that. Just go like,
for a bonus point, what year it was released in? I'm going with 98.
I'm 98? I'm going with 80s. I'm going with 89.
1988. Chris gets the point.
Yeah!
So
that's my year!
Makes it 12 all. Chris Stanley's here this week.
I am.
Returning from postgraduate life and employment.
From the Houses of Parliament, no less.
So, what is the greatest ever return? Lucy.
Chris.
Aww.
Why is it the greatest?
Because he's our FECC father.
Okay, Chris, what have you got?
Am I supposed to top myself? That sounds bad. There's King. Return also there.
Oh, yes.
Nice.
I think up until the bit where it fades out and fades in and fades out and fades in and fades out and fades in.
You mean the half an hour long ending?
It's a really good film. I did enjoy The Return of the King. Just because of the opening bit with Smeagol turning into Gollum. It's just...
I'm all about the bit on the extended edition where Aragorn trots along on his horse and the mouth of Sauron comes out and gives it all that about how they've got Frodo and he died a horrible death. And Aragorn's like, right, and just whips his sword out and chops his head off.
Wow.
It's an awesome scene.
Ooh.
If you've read the book, which I'm sure you probably have.
I have read the book, yeah.
They cut out an entire section where Saruman takes over Hobbiton.
I know. Well, the thing with that is they didn't want to cut that out, but Christopher Lee suddenly randomly decided that he wanted to be paid more.
Yeah.
They were like, no, we're not going to pay you more. But it's like, well, he's like, you have to because we've already done the scene. It's just like, no, we won't. We'll just cut the scene. It's just like, damn you, Christopher Lee. You are awesome, but you are also not needing all that money. Return of the Jedi could be up there. It's the only Star Wars film I have watched end to end, with the exception of the first one, which kind of put me off Star Wars for about 2 or 3 years.
But Empire Strikes Back is so good.
Empire Strikes Back is better, and Return of the Jedi gets very silly at some points. Especially with the Ewoks. The Ewoks are very adorable and very cute, but you're sort of like, I'm not sure they really fit into the whole sort of lightsaber, Darth Vader, evil Emperor, lightning bolt sort of thing. Ewoks versus lightning bolts, I don't think it would last very long. It's the fact that they're able to beat stormtroopers. It's a bit sort of like, seriously, stormtroopers, this makes it sound like you could be beaten by anyone.
Yeah, but the whole point of it is that the Ewoks highlight how, the Empire, I think they're so grand in that, but everybody can help come together and overthrow the Empire.
This is true. In terms of sports, there's been a return of Martin Jol, which I think is quite pleasing.
I'm still a little bit sad that he's not our manager.
I am sad that he's not our manager anymore, because he's one of the very few foreign managers who's come over and actually sort of really warmed to English people. Because even Arsene Wenger, who's been here for years, we're all still like, he's French and he does garlic shrugs and he keeps doing, the team played well today, but I did not see this penalty incident. Whereas Martin Jol is just like, was always really adorable in his interviews.
I imagine he gives good hug cuddles.
He looks really gives a very good bear hug, and you could never get angry with him, even when we lost like stupidly badly to someone like Arsenal or Chelsea. You're just there going, "Oh, Martin Jol, I can't stay mad at you."
Do you know how he found out that he'd got the sack?
It was horrible.
It's his little nephew.
Yeah.
His little nephew came up to him.
We sacked him during a game. We sacked him at half time, didn't we?
His little nephew came up to him at half time or full time. It was like, that everyone's saying you've been fired.
That's cruel.
It's very cruel. I was not happy with our board about that. So it's nice that he's back in English football. And Fulham, I quite like Fulham. I think Fulham are one of the few London teams I don't sort of have animosity towards.
They could be good, but they can never quite.
They can't quite hit it, and they're shocking away. So
and they have a Michael Jackson
statue. He's back. In terms of, I don't know, is it ever good to have political returns? I think we always get annoyed when politicians come back. Peter Mandelson is
speaking of him.
He walked past me once and my heart went over and over and over, and then it was fine, but it still felt like part of my soul had just been sort of siphoned off. It felt like he was wearing a cape. He sort of swept past me and it's like, he's Mandelson.
When he walked past you, Chris, did you hear this by any chance?
Now, it's funny you say that, because someone actually played that on their mobile phone as Michael Howard was walking past, and he started marching to the music, which gives me a little bit more respect for Michael Howard than I originally had, but I like that fact, considering everyone... Was it Anne Widdecombe said he had something of the night about him, and then every newspaper couldn't resist doing, oh look, he looks a teensy bit like a vampire, let's have a vampire. Dracula keeps coming back. I think if anyone keeps returning and has probably done it too many times, it's probably Dracula, because how many times has he been killed? Seriously.
Doctor Who was a good comeback.
Yes, Doctor Who, because obviously it's sort of late 80s and it sort of fizzled out badly, didn't it? And everyone was bored with it.
Bad 90s film.
Bad 90s film. And then all of a sudden Christopher Eccleston, he was only there for a series, but he did very well. I mean, he
hated it.
I'd watched a few Doctor Who films, but I'd not really seen much of the series. But Christopher Eccleston, the Dalek episode in the series he did, really got me interested. It was a very good episode.
But bonus point if you can tell me which of the current companions was in one of the films.
Bernard Cribbins.
Yes.
Oh, damn it.
1965.
He's just got no BE. He just got no BE, Bernard Cribbins.
Yes, he did.
Why is there not a question on Brucey?
I don't know. My uncle actually got an MBE in the office. I was very pleased for being a civil servant, so therefore you will never know what he did, but big shout out.
I think my granddad's got one. I think what's the lowest one? Is that MB?
MBE is the lowest.
Yeah, he's got an MBE.
So yes, very very happy
That's
for
so
my uncle
cool.
Dennis. So
My granddad-
you will never find out what it was for. It's basically just being a civil servant for a very long time.
My granddad disarmed a man with an axe.
Actually took the arm off.
No. The man had the axe.
Oh right.
My
okay.
granddad disarmed him.
Oh, I thought you might mean literally.
I don't think they give out it. And for disarming a man's arm,
Hey, it's not an easy job, okay? You know, you gotta swing proper.
disarmed a man with an axe. He also arrested.
Historical returns, Edward V. There's this sort of period where, like, Edward V as a kid is supposed to be murdered in the tower, and then
yes.
many people come back and say, I'm Edward V. I'm Edward V. It's like, seriously, you're like, I don't know what you are, but you're... There must be a good example of someone who keeps getting killed in, like, a drama show. You're like...
Rory,
Rory,
keeps
yes,
getting killed
just
in
like
drama.
Rory. Or like in EastEnders, they had Dirty Den, didn't they? Who was supposed to be killed and then came back. That was.
Came back.
But then they killed him pretty soon afterwards. I don't think he lasted more than 3 or 4 years, did he?
No, I think that was because like it was just.
He got weird.
Gandalf.
Yeah.
Gandalf came back.
Yeah.
That was a pretty awesome return.
So which of these is the greatest ever return?
All of them. They're all great.
Shall we move on to
Fantastic.
Ayrton Senna?
Okay. Oh, I would break down.
Ayrton Senna. Senna. The documentary about the great F1 driver Ayrton Senna is receiving great critical acclaim. But who is the greatest driver of all time? See, I like Schumacher. Schumacher was the one when I was
I
growing
do
up.
quite like Schumacher. I quite liked. It's kind of a weird one. David Coulthard. It was quite a cool Scottish guy because he always came across as just enjoying himself, even though he didn't necessarily win that many races.
Doing the coverage
he
now
was,
as well.
yeah, but he was always, you know, he was a good driver. He was always sort of in the running, but he always managed to sort of, you know, every now and then he would win a race, and it would actually mean something.
Believe it.
Whereas Schumacher, it was sort of, it got to a stage where if he didn't win a race, you could just imagine him getting really, really frustrated and sort of not taking it as well. And
Coulthard, I think, won like 13 races.
though I do have a lot of respect for Schumacher for managing to crash quite badly and still sort of be okay, because he broke his leg, didn't he?
But I think it's both of them.
And he's still
Silverstone.
kind of going, because he came back, didn't he? Obviously, I mean that's a return we sort of missed a trick on there.
It's not the greatest though, because he's
no,
not really
it's not
doing
the greatest,
anything.
and he didn't do brilliantly, did he?
The thing is, he's in the middle. Like, he's in the middle of the pack, and it's kind of a position
Who's the
which
racing
anyone else.
driver? Was it Colin Murray or Colin McRae? McRae, that was really sad, wasn't it? He died in a helicopter accident. I always had a lot of respect for him. I seem to be a bit of a sucker for Scottish racing drivers. I don't know, they seem to have a bit more sort of humour and sort of not taking it quite as seriously as everyone else. I don't generally like... is it Alonso? The Renault guy. Who am I thinking of? Used to be Lewis Hamilton's partner.
Fernando Alonso.
Yeah. Don't think I like him because he sulks quite a lot, and I've gone off Hamilton.
Plus the infamous Felipe is faster than... No, Fernando is faster than you from last year.
Yeah.
Secret team orders.
Yeah.
Lucy, have you got anything?
I'm really not into like racing.
But it doesn't say that, it just says the greatest driver.
Oh, okay, greatest driver.
You can go with a driver. You could like a driver in the film, maybe.
Just say it, Mum.
My mum can't drive, so that was quite impressive. Greatest driver ever, my mum.
There's a motorbike rider called Giuseppe Rossi who's really, really good. He's just been stupidly good at it for years. Does it just have to be cars?
Films about driving.
Well, Joe enters the lead now on 20 points.
What's he done?
He said Sterling Moss.
Oh, damn you, Joe! That is... Oh, we didn't think of Sterling Moss. He's just stopped racing, though. He's stopped racing. It's really sad.
Story about...
He was on the Today programme, and he was just going around this corner. He just got scared. He was just like, this is far too dangerous. I don't want to do this. And he just had one more lap, and he came around, and he stopped doing it.
Sterling
He's
Moss
done it all his life. And
at
it's
the Monaco
really...
Grand Prix in the 60s or 50s, I believe, driving around the Monaco circuit, and he kept making eye contact with this woman on one of the corners, and he's driving around, and you know they're sort of flirting a bit as he's driving around and this is during the race, and he slowed down on one of the laps at that corner, and handed his number to her and drove off the.
Oh, okay, Joe.
Yes,
Joe
You
is
get the
right.
point.
He was a proper Playboy racing driver. The girls, the champagne.
See, my racing history sort of tails off. I'm only up to sort of 80s, 90s. To be honest, I mean, until the Top Gear episode, I didn't know much about Senna. I just knew he was a good driver who died.
I missed a trick really. I should have put Supreme by Robbie Williams.
The really bad thing though is just like all the racing drivers of the early years. It's kind of difficult to judge them because a lot of them died just in really horrific accidents. So we'll never really know if any of them were going to be the best of the best because they all sort of, Senna died. And, I mean, Senna still did a lot of good stuff, but it was just a horrible waste. And these days, we don't really have anyone dying, and which is obviously brilliant, but it's it's kind of a different era really. So it's kind of difficult to say that how well each driver would do if, say, someone was to just suddenly flip
also,
over.
I mean,
in the
like
middle
the
of a race.
cars, the technology advances of the cars these days means that it's such a safer sport than it used to be that you can't, like Chris was saying, you really can't compare the old drivers with the new ones.
If we're going to talk about other drivers who aren't necessarily sort of racing drivers, I like James May in terms of driving as well. And we have to mention Richard Hammond for having the balls to come back onto a racing show after having that bad a crash. Because he couldn't remember.
But it was insane, like how he survived that with how
it was absolutely insane.
Time to have some songs now. This is Skin by the Wannadays. That was my favourite game by the Cardigans. So before that we had Skin by Wannadays. So Freya has already his art party tonight, so in honour of that, tell me your best joke. And Chris is donning the glove puppet, so he can go first.
I'd prefer to do a list of puns.
You have to do jokes, we've only got 15 minutes.
To do jokes, but puns aren't jokes.
Right, you have to pick one and be quick.
Okay. Well, I was thinking of making a joke about a cup of tea, and I did have a couple of thoughts brewing. But then I realised that I might be milking it a bit too much, and that you might have to cup your ear to hear some of them. I'm trying to sweeten the deal here. But I may have to go teetotal on these puns because they're just quite painful, and the source of the amusement is becoming more and more oblique as we go on. So yeah.
Impressive.
Sorry, it's just that over punned with FECCLES. Seriously, some of the newer FECCLE members just puns all the time. Anything you say, and they can just. Well, yeah, you two. But you're more with the innuendo and stuff. But
I like to think I pace myself. I've always been quite careful to sort of pace the puns and not do too many.
But literally, like every sentence you say, they will be able to come up with some pun, and they don't stop themselves. They just carry on. It's like no.
That sounds a bit painful, right?
Lucy, your joke.
Okay, well, I don't know that many jokes that are suitable to say live on air. But I do have one, which is quite funny. But it's probably one you've heard. It's like one of those ones that's like quite well known. This is so embarrassing.
I've got a joke. But go.
But so Albert Einstein dies, and he goes to heaven, and he's at the pearly gates, and St. Peter tells him, well, you look like Einstein, but you don't know like how much people will try to get into heaven, so you really need to prove who you are. And so Einstein ponders for a couple of seconds, and he's like, can I get a chalkboard and some chalk? And St. Peter's like, yeah, sure. So he clicks his fingers, and there's a chalkboard and some chalk there. And so Einstein starts scribbling away, and he manages to explain with some very complicated symbols and mathematics symbols and stuff the theory of relativity, and St. Peter is very impressed by this, and he's like, you are Einstein, oh my god, welcome to heaven. And so a few moments later, St. Peter's still waiting there, and he's doing his job at the gate, and Picasso suddenly appears, and he's like, oh, well, the thing is, we've just had Einstein, so you're sort of going to have to give me some credentials of like who you really are, prove yourself. So Picasso's like, well, can I use this chalkboard and chalk that seems to be lying around? And he's like, yeah, go ahead. So he erases the symbols and all the mathematics equations, and he's just like, he's there for a few minutes, and he draws this amazing mural, and it's fantastic. And St. Peter's like, oh my god, you're Picasso! Welcome to heaven. Go in. And then finally, a few moments later, he suddenly George Bush is suddenly standing there, and St. Peter's a bit confused, and he's scratching his head, and he's like, this is a very strange day. We've just had Einstein, there's Picasso, I've had other people earlier. You're really going to have to tell me who you are. Like, show me, tell me, prove yourself. And he's just like, who's Einstein and Picasso? And he's like, welcome, George. Yeah, I'm not good at telling jokes.
No, I've not heard that one before, so it's just fun to make fun of George Bush. I've got one now. People have heard this. And it's quite good because it's a heaven one as well. 3 people come out to heaven at the same time, and St. Peter's like, okay, guys, heaven is getting pretty overcrowded at the moment with 6 billion people on Earth, so you are going to have some pretty good, horrific stories, and only the most sort of horrific stories you're going to have to actually sort of sell them to me. So it's like, okay. The guy who goes first is just like, I just discovered that my wife has been having an affair. So I went up to the top of the flat to kill myself. And I saw the guy there who just killed my wife. And he suddenly turns and he slips. So I go over there and he's got his fingernails and he's sort of gripping on. So I just, in a fit of vengeance, just push him off and he falls to the ground. And I pick up this fridge that just happens to be there and I throw it down just to make sure he's dead. And then all of a sudden the guilt hits me, and it hits me so hard that I had this horrendous heart attack, and I dropped down dead. And Sabine's like, whoa, well, I don't think I've ever heard a story that horrific. Go. And then the second guy goes like, right, I've been having a really good relationship with this woman, but I think she was married, and I've just sort of, went to the balcony to sort of get my feelings together. But whilst I was sort of turning and pacing and deciding things, I must have lost my footing and it slipped. And I heard someone coming and I was sort of like, please help me. And he just sort of pushed me off. And I sort of fall to the ground and I'm just about okay because it's not too far and my legs are sort of broken, but I'm trying to crawl away and he drops this fridge on me. And the guys are like, whoa. St. Peter's are just there going, okay, that's pretty horrific. All right, second one. And he's just like, right, you, last guy, you are going to have to do some work to beat those 2. And the third guy just goes like, right. I was in this fridge.
Well done.
Right. Doctor Who is being commissioned for 14 more episodes. However, word is we won't see a full season in 2012 due to budgetary and scheduling problems. So what do you think we won't see in 2012? And this has just got to be a quick one-word answer.
Olympic special.
I have no idea.
Episode with Boris Johnson.
The end of the world.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
2012, yeah.
2012.
That's what.
But we've already had that film, haven't we?
After Jenson Button's last lap win at the Canadian Grand Prix, what has been your ultimate last-minute achievement?
Quite often, it's just getting a particular train that I had no right to get.
Or, for me personally, just getting my first dissertation in on time. That was pretty last minute.
Yeah, I've had a couple of last-minute dissertations, well, not dissertations actually, that would be a lie, but sort of essays that have sort of been like, deadline is 4. I think I did get one in pretty much 3:59. I think there were about 60 seconds on the clock.
I might have made the mistake of going to Club I the night before my hand-in, and yes, that was quite last minute.
Oh yeah, that's a point as well. I only just turned up on time to do campus tours after doing Club I.
Yeah.
There was actually one point because I was just showing around the room, but another person was chaperoning them in, and I fell asleep for a bit. So it was only 10 minutes, it was fine. I woke up just in time for the next group to come in, but I was that shattered. I probably shouldn't have been doing tours, but it was alright. And no one noticed, so...
The scores are tight. It's 20 points to Joe, 22 to Lucy, 23 to Chris.
Woohoo!
Let's have some Rocket Man before the final round. Okay, that was Rocket Man by Elton John, as featured at the end of Series 3 of Californication, which is a super
Matt
series,
just showed us and it was quite depressing.
but very powerful as well.
Yes.
It's very well done. 20-second improv round for the win now.
Whoa.
Will it be Chris or will it be Lucy?
Spike out.
20 seconds, Chris, for you to argue that Bruce Forsyth does not deserve a knighthood. Go.
Bruce Forsyth, maybe when he was in the 80s, 70s, 80s, when he was doing most of his stuff, doing like Generation Game, all these shows, he was really good and sort of really into his form, but now he's getting old and he's slowing down. And on Strictly Come Dancing, he just seems to be there making cheesy jokes and no one's really there to watch him, they're just there for the dancing. So he's kind of fallen. I think he could have had a knighthood 20 years ago, but not now. It's kind of rewarding him for still being alive.
Time. Spot on.
Oh, nice! Nice way of ending that. We're already
Spot on 20 seconds. And possibly got it just at the end with that line. Lucy.
Yes.
Quite right that there shouldn't be a full series of Doctor Who in 2012, because who wants to watch a potato every Saturday night?
What?
Matt Smith looks like a potato.
Okay.
If you look at,
I would not eat that potato.
Yeah, no, I've had a potato in a bag once. It looked exactly like his face.
Right, okay, so you want me to argue that it's a good thing?
It's a good thing
Okay.
it's not on, because Matt Smith's face offence. Ready?
Yeah.
Are you composed?
Yeah.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, go.
Yeah, so it makes sense not to have Doctor Who on for a full series because it keeps things fresh and alive, and it makes it a bit different. And also the thing is, Matt Smith is no David Tennant. David Tennant was pretty looking, and Matt Smith is a bit fugly and a bit weird, and his hair is floppy and stupid. And no, I don't like Matt Smith, so we'll get David Tennant, and we can have a full. I'd even be happy to have a full series with Paul McGann. That would be amazing. Okay, there you go.
It's a tricky one. I think this week's winner has to be Chris Stanley.
Yay, well done.
Could have been Lucy, but you saved yourself with the line, "It's like we're rewarding him for being alive."
It is though.
Have you ever watched?
How old is
On the
guy?
subject of that, I watched Jasper Carrot's British Comedy Lifetime Achievement Awards speech, because it came up on the suggested thing on YouTube. I was watching that, and Jasper Carrot's making his speech, and he goes, and I'm quite honoured to have this award. And then I looked up the past recipients of it, and you've got the greats of Des O'Connor and Bob Monkhouse, Ronnie Barker, and then it occurred to me, they're all dead. So thanks. It's just a nice doorstep, and now go sit in your home and die.
But I think that kind of is the thing, because he should have had a knighthood earlier when he was
He
in
should
his
have had
prime.
a knighthood good 10-15 years ago. It does seem like...
It just seems a bit sort of them going, oh sorry, we forgot.
What?
We had other things on, other people to give knighthoods to, like, I don't know, Sam and Rushdie and all that, and yeah, whoops. But you've got one now, and he's just like, yay, I've got it for... Well,
I mean, yeah, he isn't as quick-witted and as like on the ball in Strictly, but the thing is, he has had a primetime show in pretty much every decade since he started, which is quite impressive. So I don't understand why it's taken so long for him to get the knighthood.
the entertainment version of Ryan Gags, without all the horrible revelations that just won't stop.
It's time to tie up this week's show. Thank you to Chris and Lucy.
Yay.
Tune in next week for the 13th and final episode of the 11 o'clock Waffle. We're going to be planning something very special for that.
We'll all be in tears. It'll be fantastic.
The-
Listening.
The music is hopefully going to be wonderful. I've already pretty much done the playlist, and it's fantastic, if I don't say so myself.
Mr.
And
Socks will be there in spirit.
There was no room for this song on it, but I feel as this is like the end of the beginning of the end,
Oh god.
it feels only right to end this show, the penultimate show, on this song.
Okay.
Goodbye, and tune in next week for the end.
Auf Wiedersehen!